Okay, so welcome to another Sifting Jack. Today we're going to talk about a little bit of the same rhetoric that I had, that the world is not the same as it was during the, you know, post COVID, or I think after COVID. It was a completely different time, I would say, around the period between 2018 to about 2022 to early 2023. Like I would mean January, February, there was a different cultural shift going on. Um, there was this sort of oofy doofy culture too, which, if you didn't know, it's sort of just people acting, everything's oversaturated. Um, there was, in general, there was a weird thing. There was either you were like super, you know, the Obama era optimism was dead, and we all knew it, but everyone was kind of shill. There was the Peter, Jordan Peterson types, and before Black Pill became into relevant mainstream culture as we have it today, there was the Red Pill, and it was sort of hated on. It was seen as some sort of like ultra right wing sort of way of thinking, and it's kind of true. Like it's semi half true, but some people just are kind of in this space where you're seeing a lot of people depressed and unwilling to move, and I've seen it nowadays. You can't really do anything about it. You can't get things working. I remember people back in the days. They were like super. They were chill. There was, I still remember people talking about the Afghanistan war. The war in Afghanistan, and there was a lot of people they remember. Like, oh, my cousin got his legs blown off in Afghanistan, or people died. That's just not a thing nowadays. It's just this weird bitterment in this culture nowadays, and I'm kind of weird that I'm 21 right now. I still feel like I'm 17 in my head. It's just kind of crazy because like I've missed out. You know, I wasted being 19, 20, depressed. I didn't drink a single drop of alcohol during those periods. I didn't drink. I didn't smoke. I didn't do any drugs, and I still I have not a single social life to do anything, and I got fucking nothing going on. I tried actually visiting people, and I got like actually like just told so off so badly. Like you shouldn't visit people that doesn't want to have any contact, and it's just like you try to forcefully insert yourself into people's social life is actually just going to be generally really just fucking weird and ugly, and you'll never actually get that sort of 2010s culture back. You can't visit people. People are not starting families, and everyone's just buying their own houses at my own age. And I'm just like thinking, what the fuck do I do now? Like everyone's like a blue collar worker. They've been working their ass off, and it's kind of insane to think that there's people that are 26, 27, just a couple years older than me. They die in accidents. They get cancer. Like they will die. Like a lot of these people that are like in the not in the optimistic millennial culture as the we are young, just fire in our soul. We go, those type of people, back in the 2005, 15, 2008 optimism, even the emo culture, and there was this, weird pop culture back then. But it seems to me that it's no longer even a thing, and that's the craziest part. You just see it just completely go. Let me just fix the mic. It's a little bit far off my mouth. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I think it's fine now. It's just it was not hugging or doing anything. So, but like, if you understand that the world was, in a different perspective, and I mean like in a different headspace. It was kind of weird because we're already half through the 2020s, and the 2020s as a decade will be remembered for being extremely depressive and really just mid. It's a really boring decade. It's not a party decade like the early 2010s was. Even up to like 2019, there was some sort of optimism in there, and people weren't that pissy. It was only during COVID where we got a sort of a worldwide depression, a rise till the inkwells and the femcells, they sort of took over in a large scale. And this isn't really talked about. Like loneliness culture nowadays is really just over, because with the loneliness you sort of get this weird culture shift. And like when like 60% of people that are like in the age bracket, like there's just a chronic statistic rise in this like despair, loneliness. Things are not looking good, and people are like trying to bully. You've seen like this, Hassan Piker and stuff. I don't even watch him. I despise people like him, and somehow he's the guy that's supposed to be speaking for like the culture, the youth, the youth that are going to be written into history. I guess it's just weird that he can sort of just bully people that will never, like he gets constantly in drama, and like he specifically tries to bully off people that are trying to, like these, sometimes these guys have done nothing wrong. They've been nice all their life, and they're being, treated with a 10-foot pole, and that's the sort of weird things, because back in the days, this wasn't really discussed. I still remember back in 2023, I was trying to like find some chatbots and seeing if there was like, okay, so like, has this country, that I live in, has done anything about the incel movement? Has they helped, they help loneliness, and they sort of do it, but it wasn't a wide discussed thing. But they're sort of putting everyone into one box, and trying to shame people. They're bringing back shame, but they're shaming the wrong things. They're shaming people for being lonely, isolated, having no social life, no friends, and treating like it's their fault for being so lonely and weird. And it's just crazy. They're supposed to be treated that bad, and I don't know what to do. It's kind of crazy because now it's actually officially my 1 year official day where I got my tinnitus hearing loss. I had an accident where I was leaning into my guitar amp, and I was turning on the power so that both the solid state amp, if you didn't know what a solid state is, it basically turns out immediately because there's no analog valves that turn on. So it turns out in a millisecond. The pedal board was on, and it was like 13 pedals, maybe like 7. And it blew up. I remember my cheeks went cold, and I couldn't hear shit for like up to a week, and I got my hearing back, but it was still just sizzling every single day, and it's never been the same. It's just crazy, and like it was completely like this loneliness that I have was completely manageable before. I've tried therapy, it didn't work, and the therapy like it did work, but it was kind of just like it just doesn't work. Like it sort of helped me manage stuff, and it did actually help me with the sort of things I got, but like I just like, where do I go from here, but like it's kind of crazy, because time moves so fast now. I can't believe it's over been like 4 months. Like, what the hell happened, since November? of 2025. You know, like it's just it feels like you know, like I'm aging. I don't want to age. You know, I don't want to get a wrinkly, and you know, because like it doesn't, you know, matter how much well I take care of myself. I don't even drink. I don't smoke. I don't do any of this, but I still look tired all the time. Might get 10 hours of sleep every day. You know, and you know they still look like if you know a raccoon. You know, like a raccoon with a stubble. It doesn't matter. You know, it's just the genetics that I was born with, and you know, I still look like a depressed painter, and like I did this like weird inverted filter, and you know, it looks like I just like literally half of my face looks like a tired painter, long nose. The other one's like a short, you know, sort of fuck boy, like Danish, sort of like German, like the middle padded, like the baby face. So like half of my face is twisted, you know, and it's kind of crazy, honestly. Cause like it's sort of like I don't know why. Like I'm 6'2", blue eyes, blonde, um, just that you know I don't know, you know, it's just kind of crazy because back in the days I remember like 2023 was mostly my most turbulent year that I've ever had, you know. And you know I was optimistic, you know, this decade will be mine. I will get a lot of friends. I'll get a girlfriend, you know, and I'll have like a party. I'll start drinking again, and you know, I get like social drinking because if you drink because you're alone, that is a dangerous recipe for like actual like havoc. You know, you don't want to drink for any reason, like without a reason. If you don't drink without a reason, um, it might be a really dangerous thing because like I've seen people who drink and they just like they never become like the scars. Their mental scars are still there. They just don't get over it, and you know, like I don't know. Like, am I a bad guy? Am I a good guy? I do not know, and probably will never will. You know, and you know, I get in constant trouble all the time. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any drugs, and I still fail like miserably. Like, you know, both of my cousins are getting in trouble. No, they're doing a lot of stuff. You know, they're getting in like things that would be really, really bad. You know, and you know, if I even did like a millisecond of that, I would get in like an instantaneous trouble. Like I would get instantaneously in a really bad situation, and you know, I would regret my life. But when they do it, sort of like they have like an instantaneous, you know, filter or whatever, you know, because like they have like they have social connections that actually work. You know, if I tried to be a little, you know, what you're saying, you little pipsqueak, you know, God, you know, it's clipping, but it's kind of like that. If you think that, if you think like you can sort of just like be something that you're not, it gets really bad. And I don't know where to go. You know, I tried music. I've tried, you know, everything. Music does not work. You know, music therapy does work a little bit, but it's not really that impressive. It's just I can't believe, you know, like time is moving so fast. And I started music back in 2023. I haven't really improved. I've learned chords and all this stuff, but I'm still not like a socially acceptable level. Like I'm not like a talented artist. Like I can't even cover like a full like Metallica song or whatever, you know. And when you know you get mogged the absolute shit by everyone, you know, you get mogged to death by these artists, and you sort of just like give up almost, but you don't give up. You still have like wasted a lot of money into your hobby. Yeah, it gets kind of sad because like you can't really quit when you've spent so much money into your hobby. And also like I'm partially deaf, so like it's just making my art meaningless because like that's the sort of sad part, you know, like when you actually, because I don't know my limits. One thing's like your whole neurological like landscape kind of changes after post hearing loss. Like it just changes with the sort of sensitivity loss. You can't feel or see any sense of direction, like hear any sense of direction, and you can't really like, and you know you get this constant swooshing. Like you don't know if it's the outside or the inside, you know. And you know it makes really everything just like up to, you know, driving and everything just really bad. You know, I've actually lost like 70 pounds. I'm still wanting to lose like 20 pounds more because, you know, I want to be that skinny sort of pianist sort of vibe, long, you know, ponytail. Maybe dye my hair, maybe paint my fingers. Like I'm all up for it now because I'm so depressed. Like I don't have any sort of like I don't really have any shame in, you know, having, you know, a wearing whatever, you know, like an emo phase when you're 21, when people have done it when they're 16, you know. It's kind of crazy because like like I don't know why, you know. I've just like people now are, you know, working their jobs. Like most people are in college, and I've sort of just like had a depression for like a year, like a gap year with depression, and 1 year where I was working, you know, in these sort of job trainees and apprentices, you know, just being swished around in these sort of places, not knowing where to go. You know, it was kind of good the first or half year because like I wasn't deaf at that point, so I could just like play. You know, I could do a job, you know, like 8 hours, like a 9 to 5, or you know, and you know, and then just like play Skyrim, you know, and it was kind of relaxing. You know, I could just like, because I was a way more nicer dude after I got like I'm a grumpy piece of shit sometimes, and you know, I realized, you know, I like I just become really rude and sometimes just really bad in general. Like I don't know why, and I'll probably just don't know. It just sucks, and I don't want to blame, you know, one condition or whatever for the reason why I am, but it's kind of like day and night, honestly. Like I can't believe it. You know, like yeah, you like the existential dread and shit. Like I've actually had people that I've talked to in the same age bracket who has the same condition that I have, and even the same diagnosis too. Is like you don't know, like you'll, you know, have a gap year, and you know, and you'll, I don't know, like if like time just flies, you know, because like I can't, I don't know, it's just weird, and like I kind of miss the whole early 2020s. Actually, it was actually, in my opinion, was actually better. In general, it was actually better than the than the times we have now. Honestly, it's just like we're about to go to war. You know, like a situation where we didn't really want to go to war, so we have like $7 gasoline, or like $3 gasoline now. Um, like we have a politician that sucks, and just like the optimism is dead. There, you know, back in the days, people used to give out free CDs at, because CDs were like actually the main sort of thing where you got, so you could get like an Elvis best hits on like a free newsletter, and you just got a CD, you know, and you know, it was like incredible because like I go to these thrift stores and these old Red Cross, and they have like a CD section. So you can 10 cents per CD or whatever, or $1 a CD, and you literally get like an Elvis best hits. You get the best songs. Nowadays you would get like one good song and 10 B-sides if that ever was the case nowadays. Nirvana best hits, and you just like the rest of the stuff from incesticides, or the spaghetti incident with the like. It's kind of crazy. Um, so like I got like a bunch of these like cardboard CD sleeves, and with like 70 minutes worth of like or 30 minutes worth of their best songs, and I just rip them to my computer. I write them onto my Discogs, and I just add them to my Spotify playlist, so I have like a record collection of every single song that I ever owned on cassettes, on CD, on vinyl, like literally. Besides like the Scandinavian, like German, like these German CDs, like or just German cassettes, like the older cassettes you find are like from these like old dance bands, and like a bunch of these literal like that, like it wouldn't be cool today to do any of it, but back in the days, like the world was so, people were genuinely more happier. Like you would never get that sort of love songs, happy sort of dance movement. Like you wouldn't ever get that, because it wasn't old disco back in the 80s. Like there was just a bunch of these white dudes playing acoustics, like they're making love songs and singing covers, like having fun in general, like because like there's just like four dudes that are like balding. They're skinny because like the diet was different. They all look like completely shads, almost. But like they have grown out beards and like the balding long hairs, but they never cut it because like people didn't go full bald back then, because there was like a whole culture behind it. You couldn't just like shave your whole head every day. Back in the 70s or 80s, so people like styled it kind of. So it's kind of crazy, see these people with this weird Elvis type dress suits, and like the beards, and the glasses with the like the clean shaved. Like you just don't understand. Like people actually tried back then. The working man could just like write his own songs back then. Just like play, make an EP. They used to do that all the way up to like 2014 too. They just like made like an album like of 7 songs that they really love to sing, even if they were like a troglodytes, mild alcoholic or something like that. It's kind of crazy, because nobody really presses their own CDs or makes cassettes like that anymore. Most of those people have just like like they just creep up on Facebook, and they just do their jobs, and some of them are already dead, or they're just like calmly going for retirement. It's kind of crazy, but the weird thing that I keep seeing is that there isn't really a movement anymore. Where's the rock stars, because you don't see any rock stars nowadays. But you still don't see people like recording for fun or for the hell of it. It always has to be this weird introspective or indie, or this weird this sort of weird style where like it's so unknown. It's basically designed to be mysterious and sort of like basically never give you the hint, because it's sort of just like never tell them the actual meaning of the songs. Then you can sort of make 15 albums off it, but they never really succeed, because there's like 70 people doing the same indie movement of just like show don't tell writing, and it's like it gets boring. Please just tell me the tale of the song. It's like I don't need to imagine it sometimes, but because that works sometimes. But if the whole like culture is based on that sort of thing, where it's just like showing off the song, instead of telling what the song is about, you sort of just don't understand the meaning of it. It's like, Rachel, Rachel, blue, blue, Rachel, Rachel, or something like that, or like, you crossed my heart, you broke it into 1,000 pieces, or something like that. Like, I don't know, it's or like crystal balls, crystal balls, crystal balls, sunshine. Like, it's just crazy, Like, it's just singing like 15 words, because like songs now doesn't really have it, but there's been like this weird country motive, and I sort of don't understand Zillennials or Millennials, because they will bring out a steel, resonator, or like a steel string guitar, and start, jamming like, I am a man of constant sorrow, like, and they'll like be like, the gamer woman type with the colored hair and the hoodie, the glasses, but she doesn't actually have a prescription, or like the sort of pierced, and the weird long nails, and the spooky green, silver, or blue hair colors. Um, I think I actually like those kind of women, unironically, but like or it's like those people that are sort of into country. They don't really look like plain anymore. Everyone sort of looks alternative, and that's the sort of problem. If everyone's alternative, nobody's alternative, in my opinion. So that's why you should just stay a redhead and just stop coloring your hair. I don't know, coloring. I don't know. People don't really color their hair like fully black anymore, or like they just do like a weird. You can tell it's colored nowadays. I've never colored my hair, but like I would literally just color it black, or I'd actually did dye it once. Like I bleached it, and yeah, I kind of regret bleaching it, because like it wasn't done correctly, and I cut my whole hair off, and I was like actually halfway to get shoulder length. Like I've actually got like 3 stages, like 3 times I've almost gotten into shoulder length, but always some bullshit happens where I have to cut it. And from the barbers or like the hairstylists, they always, since I'm a guy, they're like, and I look like I'm supposed to have short hair. They just sort of recommend me to go short, and I do go short, and I look like, a divorced, car mechanic or whatever. Like I look like, I don't know what I look like, really. I look strange. Like I had that Edgar, the Edgar with like the pencil mustache, like those Edgar phenotypes without the mustache, kind of like you just look weird, like creeping eye bags, weird like long nose and strong chin, like you're French or something. I don't know. I'm just rambling. But like people like Zillennials and Millennials who just keep like playing these countries or indie covers and doing these weird tunings. I just don't like it. I totally get it, but like they're just reinventing the wheel. They're like, this stuff has been done before. They're thinking that they're making a whole different movement, but it's just the same millennial burger place. Oh man, I get so sick of it. Honestly, I don't like it. It's like, oh, let people live. I totally get it. They can totally do their own stuff, but it's just like everything's super safe, because if you actually do break barriers, where do you go from there? Because I've seen people make the most interesting shit ever, and they get like 300 views on Spotify or YouTube, and well, they don't keep pursuing it, because money is calling. They have to get a college degree, or they have to work, a job that they hate, and let their dreams sort of die, because dreams don't make money in the end of the day. It's unless you live in like a really close knitted community where you basically have like a bunch of connections in the industry, like your dreams will die. Like you can sort of like get depressed until you get like 29, and then you just like realize you can't keep doing this. There isn't like that much of a fan base, because like even if you do have like 2 million, you need to have like at least like 5 to 7 million subs, or viewers, or like followers on TikTok or something. And you have to have like actually people actively posting, because you only get like that summer of fame, I would say. If you Because like YouTubers now will get their peak at like 2 weeks max. Like Clav is sort of gone from the culture. Peterson was like in the culture for like almost like 1.5 years, I would say. But like all this stuff only lasts for like, if you're lucky, half a year max. You don't see people just keep, because like those with a small following will just keep doing it, sort of, until they just keep, but like people like go all in. I don't know anymore. I wish I could play in a band, but bands are so loud. You sort of get deaf. So like I want to buy these like custom IMs before I start playing on stage, or rehearse. I like sort of what I do, but like nobody talks about those people who stay like underground. Like those types of people, like the stories of the people who just like never really gets anywhere, and they're just like they're one EPs and seven singles and two albums, and they gave up at 2007, or like 2000, I would say like 2017, 18. And then they had like one album back in 2020, but like it got less than I don't know. I'm just rambling. I don't know anymore. Right now, I don't know. Things really look like I just got like laid off at my job, even though like I showed up every day, every hour. There was no like in demand jobs, sadly. So I would just not push myself to do that sort of work for that money, because I got so bored. Like I took vitamins. I had to like keep myself up, even though I had like 9 hours of sleep. I still had to have like 2 boxes of Monster. And I ate regularly, and I still just like felt like tired all the time, and like I get this sort of dread, like, do I keep just doing this? And because yeah, the other job I kind of liked doing, because it was like a lot of variation. There was always something new happening. There you got different products that you had to work on. You had to sort of refine and get sort of super duper sparkly fresh, or else it would just look bad. So that's kind of crazy. Um, and just summer is stressing. Like the summer is always something bad keeps happening, and this is why I hate the summers, because I always get in accidents. I always get sort of in life altering moments in my life, and they always happen in May. They always happen early in May. They always happen there. Everything happens in the summer, and you like it. You like. I have to be super careful, because like I might end up getting in an accident. I might die. I like in the summer. Like always something stupid happens in Europe, and American that gets you, because like everything starts happening. And I'm the sort of guy that like has to be really careful in the summer, because you just can't. You'll get into drama. So I'm sort of like very shy in the summer, I just sort of like shelter myself. I'll keep playing video games, and because that was the only way. Because I knew in every sort of season in May, my body would just shut down, and even if I took vitamins, I drank coffee, I would be a zombie, and I would just my there would just be a hole in my head from there and then, and something happened now, and I still it was fine. I almost died, but I actually it was like a millisecond of a difference, and it could have gone really bad, but nothing really went bad. So I actually just like carried on with my day, which is kind of crazy because this was just like I was insanely lucky for the situation that I was in. But since I live in the countryside, there's always and a lot of hills. There's just always, you know, sort of just like everything goes under the table. But like I keep being like stressed out. I hate the summer. There's a lot of stress. I don't know what to do in the summer. I used to pull all-nighters all the time. Don't do it anymore. I still look like shit. I still feel like shit. Um, I start trying to talk to women more, and people just gave me that weird look. I tried to talk to them like guys all the time. People just have this weird face they make at me, like, why are you talking to me, And because I don't have the social anxiety anymore because since I lost my hearing, I just matured a little bit and sort of just had no social filter. Like I had that sort of feeling like I have nothing to lose anymore. It's just best to just keep saying what I really think in my head. But if you really I always get those sort of summer vibes, and it can last a long time if I just get in drama, because I usually get my head reset every summer, and it's just like a parasite, because I keep, I don't think, I think completely honestly and freely of what I care. I don't have any social filters or any sort of, I feel really free, I talk really freely. I don't, care. But I'm not really I don't know, I feel very very happy in the summer because I can actually think, and say what I really think about stuff, but not being super bitter. I just really talk on the top of my head, and that's where you get in a lot of drama and stuff, because people just want almost to be lied to, they I keep, or just want to be left alone, because you're not that guy. Um, I'm certainly not. I tried to go to the gym. I didn't really carry on with gym, because I think the gym is kind of stupid because it's all about social connections and just keeping routine. And I do a ton of gardening. I still have to use this manual lawnmower. Which is not a push one, but it's a gasoline one. So you have to go out in the sun, and I wear sunscreen and sunglasses and just keep pushing, and just do that. And that's sort of how I did it. I kept doing it because I have to, because nobody will really do any upkeep. I help just stuff manage. It's why don't you have an electric lawnmower? Because I live in an actual, basically retired farm, so most of the place has been made into just normal grass, and that's kind of it. So there's just a lot of, it's just stuff you need to just be really careful about, and trying to manage those things. It takes a lot of skill to manage sort of stuff. Like you have to keep routine because you can't just have a normal job and do that sort of stuff because it takes like 4 hours to do all of it in one sitting, like minimum. And it's kind of crazy because you keep seeing people age. Everyone's aging, and sort of you remember back when you were like 14, like 16 back in 2020. Like you were such like you looked so. There was no facial wrinkles. There was no cheeks ground. There was just you, a young naive person. Like I didn't have any idea because that was all I know. But I didn't like I wasn't like it. What was it called? Tripper. I didn't like. I wasn't a roadman. I wasn't any sort of like. I didn't have like that sort of like lifestyle. I didn't have like a really like double life. I didn't have any of that. I would just keep failing at school, keep doing just pushing grades, hoping something would happen. But I fucked up. I just like I could not keep things working. And like I would just like keep doing this stuff, but I would just keep failing. There was just not a chance that I would like succeed. Like you can't nowadays if you're a college dropout and try to become a YouTuber, it's like genuinely over because there's just like a massive flux of Gen Z. Like nobody really sells anyone on personality anymore. And like Dream was sort of the last rodeo of like guys without faces, talking into a microphone and doing sort of gaming stuff. Because either it's that or it's like the black pill YouTubers where it's like, my life failed at 40. I have tried to talk to people since I was like 12 and nothing happened, and I still failed. Like it's kind of like, but it's actually important, for science and stuff. But nobody really wants to do any research or like actually fucking like figure out what's doing it. Because like, I think if we actually did get research on this sort of stuff, or like research why people are actually in general like so lonely all the time, and why the culture is sort of like this bad. Because like nobody really wants to do any writing on this sort of stuff. I don't understand why people don't do research on the black pill, or talk about this sort of cultural shift with the millennial and Gen Z movement. Like I said, there have been done research, and most research is like positive that most people are generally fucked and depressed. There is just like actually just a steep, steady, decline in things. It's kind of crazy. But early in this videos, I had a clip on microphone, and I would just keep talking and have a lot of ideas, and I would just talk, and I still talk, but like I haven't really done that much because like I don't really have anything contradictory. It's just like yeah, like the whole culture is just genuinely going bad, and like I don't know, like what's my proposal? Being nice to each other? I don't think so. I guess it would work in some cultures, but like being nice to each other and being there for one another, and this whole mindset sort of just like disappeared, since it's not just a reality anymore. So like I don't know where to really what to say. Because I guess like there is going to be like an actual like something in the future. Like there has to be, because I don't know why people keep ignoring this. It's sort of like we have, you feel like the insane corruption that is going on. The like there's nothing we can really do about it. We can't really be I don't know, we can't really fix anything. There is just not going to be like a cultural like Gen Z revolution or whatever in these sort of European countries that have like, or like these American countries too, with like the whole new politics too, because you know like the military is like dangerous here. You can literally just get shot, and you know you'll be not even history. You'll just be like a web article. You know, attempted coup. Tons of Gen Zers, you know, get arrested and you know get shot. You know, you want to be that sort of guy, because like it won't be really remembered, because it's just another like it just feels really crazy, because like even if you like no matter how much you protest now, it doesn't really matter. It has to be like very bad, like seriously bad, and sometimes like people can protest, but the protests can be like actually not staged, I would say, but like the protest was like actually in general like mid, and there wasn't a ton of people doing it, but it was still like written into the mainstream like it did actually matter, it did actually have a really big impact, and it did actually write like it's kind of crazy, because like people will write like people want to be really just like the ones who write themselves into history, because that's kind of crazy, because you see the same sort of like people, you know, going history so they can be like history teachers and basically control what is actually, because I've seen people actually like lose their shit over debates, because like I've had people try to debate me that are like teachers, and like they actually like lose the argument, and they just give them like detention, because like this millennial sort of like they have like they can't keep politics out of it. They want to win an argument, so that's why they go into these sort of places, because they want to write, they want to rewrite history. I think they want to like rewrite the current history. I think they just want in general they don't want any opposition. They don't want actually any realism. And they don't want, you know, they don't want black pill to be written into the culture. They don't want red pill to be even remembered. They don't want any sort of like gamer, like they only want the sort of like how do I put this, like like I don't know if you do like I don't know if they will be written, but they write themselves into history. You know, it's kind of that weird illusion where like it's not about just being nice. They literally get into like the most crucial and pinnacle places, like in education, like in culture and in government, so they can sort of just be, you know, stalking and sort of surveillance state and like the whole you know, sort of media and sort of stuff. It's gonna kind of corrupt, I would say. It's kind of just like it's like duh, you know, like you go into government, you go into public, you know, be a government worker and try to, you know, sort of like, it's not always like that, but it's like it's a thing, I guess. Like the safe sleazy, the sort of Redditor types, I guess. I'm not really much into Reddit. I do actually browse it occasionally. But like I don't know. I've lost like all my fucking friends. Like I generally, like I thought like people that hasn't invited me since like 2023, and we're still friends. But like no, we're just snapping. We're just like, I think that people that I'm snapping with are in general my friends, and that they're like actually going to invite me to stuff, or I can invite them and they can actually show up, because I've actually tried to invite them, because I actually, like, since 2024 2025, just kept actually pushing invites, try to be social on social media, and people just tell me to shut the fuck up, and go suck, beep, and like in general, like the insane, like, is there something I'm like that, like I'm not being taught, like is there something that I'm not like knowing here, because like people usually talk behind my back, and because like I just don't know, because I was never invited to that sort of stuff, but I tried to invite people to stuff, they just didn't show up, or they were always busy, and like in general, like the people friendships were cheating, completely cheating, like people were just going into these different friendships. Like I'm amazed that I even got laid once, because like with the hate, like the whole social situation that I am in now, because like I in general don't have any sort of things, or like any sort of friends to hang out with, and like, oh, just go grab a beer, bro, like if I again introduce myself to alcohol or smoking, I'll do it because I'm stressed and I don't have anything going on in my life. I'll do it because I'm like in general alone, and I'll just like start day drinking, I'll start doing this sort of stupid shit, because I know it is, like it's in my DNA, and like it's a huge money pit, it's a waste of money. I save my money on my hobby, which is guitar. It's also like on a little bit of gaming, but like it's usually on clothings, on a lot of music, honestly, a lot of music stuff. It's kind of crazy that I waste so much. I just buy and sell, and it just sort of sucks. Because like I could have literally, like with the 2023 rig, I could just literally just performed with people, but I never. I don't know anymore. Like I'm supposed to be in the age where I'm supposed to be like doing the most important stuff in my life, and there will not be anything or anyone or any sort of like I can't, even if I put myself out there or try to talk to people. It feels like I'm just trying to force myself in, like trying to push the door open with my foot, and that's the sort of the sad reality. I don't know. That's pretty much it.